Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. Well, crap. People were asking me if this hoodie was actually a hoodie or just a huge collar. Now you know. Now you know it's a hoodie. It's not a very practical one, but if you want to, you can use it like that. So, yeah, it sort of looks like Kenny. It's not what it's supposed to look, I guess. Today we are taking a look at the BCN Sigma R17. So R17 is like the unofficial name, but this is the BCN Sigma dual extruder, dual X carriage. Well, what's it called? The independent dual extruder 3D printer. I'm hyped for this one. I think this is going to be a really interesting thing. So yeah, am I going for something? Yeah. This printer has been provided by MatterHackers. They are working with the BCN3D guys to get this thing out to the public. I don't know how well the machine itself is available yet. It's sort of reverb? No. I don't know how well this machine is available yet. Where I looked, it's on pre-order or it's on, available in a few days. But I guess it should be available pretty soon. So, revision 2017, yes, that is the idea here. Price is less than the Ultimaker 3, which is good. It's 2,700-ish US dollars or euros. I think it's like 2,655.95 or 2,655 euros and 95 cents. I don't know why they picked that price, but it must make sense. So let's see. Let's get into this thing. That's my screen cap. Cool. That's the view I wanted. So I don't think this webcam is going to do all that much. But well, let's just see how well this works. So it is a medium-sized machine. It is a machine that is, in the rough ballpark size-wise as like a Prusa. I feel. Let's see if we have a data sheet here. It actually doesn't, does it? Ah, there we go. 210 by 297 by 210 millimeters. So that's an A4 sheet of paper, size-wise or print area-wise, and 210 millimeters in height. So that's like, what is it? 12 by 8 by 12 by 8 inches. So yeah. I don't know if I should take this thing down because it's huge, but let's see. Okay. I'm too short to look into this thing, but let's just try and do this on the webcam. So we've got PLA. We've got a Arctic white PLA. We've got a, what is this? Crystal silver PLA. That's probably completely overexposed. And two reverse Bowden tubes, as it looks like. I'm surprised to see no PVA included in here, because it does say on the side here that it's compatible with great. With PLA, ABS, PVA, HIPS, TPE, and special. So one of the core features of this machine is that it has sort of a, similar to what Ultimaker is doing. It has a, a quick swappable hot ends. They're calling it the IDEX system, and they make different ones, obviously, with different nozzle sizes, but they also make ones with steel nozzles, etc., etc. So CE, that's something I've not seen in a while. That is the official declaration of conformity. And a glass bed. I think I should just take this thing off. Hold on. If you have suggestions for how I should do like these unboxing boxes instead, without just literally putting it on the floor, please let me know. This is like, or I could just lower the table, whatever. Yeah. So glass bed, it has like a 3-pin alignment system. These are glued on, as it looks like. So this should be held in magnetically or something. You just plop it in and it registers. That's the idea there. What else? Simplify 3D. Oh, let's see if there's a license code on here. Nope. So this one is apparently optimized for Simplify 3D as well. And I'm guessing Simplify does include the profiles right out of the box. Ah, and there we go. An unpacking guide. That is exactly what we need. So take it out of the box, cut a few things. Cool. Point it at the floor. Can't reach. Can't quite reach. And the webcam mount up there is just a bunch of zip ties. So really can't do that well. So USB cord, power cable, USB European plug there. Of course, that is, what I need. What is this? There's like a small coil of filament. Interesting. A few clips. And the interesting thing is this is a machine that looks quite professional, but it's still using a bunch of 3D printed parts. Right. 3D lac. That is, 3D lac. If you don't know, obviously it's a hairspray-like material. You spray it on your bed and everything sticks. That stuff is pretty crazy adhesion-wise. And a sample print. Let's actually switch over here. There you go. So I'm hoping that does focus, or at least I can zoom in and try to focus. That is a sample print. I don't know if that was actually made on this exact machine, but I gotta say, it looks really, really nice. There is a bit of fuzz and stuff on the bottom here, but like dual extrusion wise, this looks really good. And it smells like 3D lac. There is a very distinct flavor to this stuff. So it's not from the can, so I'm guessing it's from the print. So let's move on here. Cleaning filament, maybe. All right, let's consult the quick start guide, because it is a bunch of these zips on the outside. So how do we take it out without damaging anything? There we go. Lift that out. Lift it on the straps. Let's try that, and let's get this stuff aside. Cool. And that's that. That is everything we got in the box. Tom reading manuals. What year is it? Yeah. Tom not remembering to put the intro titles up on his videos. That's the year it is. What's with the user leg? What? Is 3D lac better than hairspray? It depends. So I've tried a few different hairsprays. It's okay. Hairsprays are very inconsistent. I've had some that like didn't stick at all, that just had the print completely peeling off. I've had others that sort of worked, but 3D lac is, it smells like hairspray, it looks like hairspray, it even comes in a hairspray bottle. It's probably made by a hairspray manufacturer, but they are using a type of hairspray that really works well with, where do I lift this thing? It really uses a type of hairspray that works well as a 3D printer build surface. Guessing just down here. Yeah, all videos are insert title here. Ooh. Or CR10, haha. Oh, what a comparison. The glue stick is made of the same material as the hairspray Mega Making is saying. Not quite. Well, actually not at all. Glue stick typically is a very thick PVA type material, while hairspray is acrylate. It's sort of like a super glue derived material. It's closer to super glue than it is to glue stick. And, you know, of course, hairspray uses a few different modifiers and stuff, but it has nothing to do with glue stick. What's that in here? I found a plastic spacer. I never worked for BCN. I worked for that other Spanish company that also starts with B. But I never worked for BCN. BCN is actually sort of, you know, to me at least, they are a bit of a new name to the 3D printing space. They did make or I think that they still are, making a Prusa sort of style machine. And, you know, I've really only noticed them after they had released the, can I just pull this thing out? The original Sigma, which, you know, is very similar to this one. It looks pretty similar, but it's got a few differences, obviously. Cool, so should we do some peeling? Or should we start right here? What is this? Ah, look at those acrylic panels. So yeah, BCN does have quite a strong stance when it comes to open source hardware. So they are releasing a lot of files. Well, they're essentially releasing everything. So you can find like all the design files, all the SolidWorks files, all the manufacturing PDFs, the firmware, the BOM, you know, just everything about the printer you can find on their GitHub, which, yeah, respect for that. No, it is not fully enclosed. It is, let's see, so this is, it's catching up there. There we go. So it is open on the front. So right there, open on the front, closed on the sides with these acrylic panels, and open on the top as well. So there you go. That is the machine. So on first sight, it's a lot of metal. It's, you know, this I don't know if these are supposed to flop down like that. That looks a bit weird. There might be some sort of routing we have to do to these. It's an aluminum frame, powder coated, very nice looking. It's got a bunch of printed parts that don't really stand out. So these white bits right there, what camera? Probably just this one. These white bits back here are printed. There's like a knob down here that is printed. A few inserts over here that are printed. That's not a knob, that is the filament inlet. Cool. So yeah, it doesn't look like your typical boxy 3D printery thing, which is nice. It's nice for a change, definitely. All right, what else? So we've got the glass sheet. We're gonna plop that in when the manual tells us to. These two, let's check out what we get tools-wise. Hoping the power cord is gonna be long enough, but it should be. Is it a 3D printer? Yes, it is, obviously. That lag is weird. Okay, tools. There is this black fuzz everywhere from this packaging foam. It's also on the, on the open parts of the sticker here. So BCN3D fuzz, but not a big deal. Two printed what looks like spool holders. Why is this so dark? Let's make this thing a bunch brighter and noisier, but nobody's going to care about that. Two printed spool holder bits, wherever those are going to go. Another sticker. Get over here. Read the manual. Yeah, not for unboxing tools. A sharpened spatula. This one is properly sharpened. This is, well, it's sharpened from both sides. So yeah, you can really dig under your prints if you want to get them off. Hex keys. This is a 4mm, 2.5, and a 2. Some small needle nose pliers. Pretty rough, and pretty greasy. And a Phillips number 0 screwdriver, plus a micro SD card. We're going to need this one. Let's say Kingston 8GB one. We're going to check what's on the card in a second. $2K and printed parts. I don't think that is contradictory. Printed parts can be just as expensive as parts that are manufactured otherwise, and printed parts can be just as good. Especially here, printed parts make sense because, this is an open source machine, so, with good documentation even. So there's really nothing stopping you from modifying the machine and putting other stuff on here and just, tweaking stuff. And printed parts really help you there because you have a 3D printer now. You can just go in, download those files, modify them. Again, you are getting the full SolidWorks files, and just reprint a bunch of stuff. So yeah, and functionally 3D printed parts aren't an issue in my book. They can be just as strong as, aluminum parts. If you look at other machines, the one that's sitting in the corner over there that uses no printed parts, that thing is a flimsy piece of crap. But this one is like, I don't see a problem so far. Okay, quick start manual. Is it made of metal? Yes, the frame is metal. The bed is metal, or the bed assembly is metal. It's got a whole bunch of metal parts. There are just a few 3D printed details. Right, so we are getting a manual that is completely overexposed. I hate that webcam. In Spanish and English. Look at that. That is perfectly half the size of the glass bed. So again, this is an A4 sized print bed, pretty sharp corners. So yeah, very decent size, very decent size. Place the glass on the platform. The slots must match. So we're doing the 1 pin up front. Can I bring this further up so this webcam will? No. Cool. So inserting it's got rubber feet on the bottom. And this one back here is overhanging the table. There we go. High quality table. So we've got these slots on the machine right there. So there is this one long slot in the front and these two angled ones in the back here. And I guess that matches up the bed. Is that magnetic? Yes, it is. So there are... It feels like it's magnetic, but Is it? Is it really? Yeah. There are magnets somewhere. Ah, it's probably in the bed itself, in the glass bed itself. That is cool. That's seated in there nicely. Nothing moving there. Sweet. Place these spool holders on the spool. Okay, so we do actually need... Ah, okay, it makes sense. So these spools are sitting inside the printer. So there is one over here and one over here, and there are these little metal brackets. I don't know if you can see them, but you should be able to. There are these metal brackets that fit the 3D printed spool holders. So the holder plops into the spool, and then this thing registers down here. So you've got no spools sticking out of the machine at all, which is nice and clean. So let's just open these up and plop them into so white and crystal silver. Let's see, so there is the white one. How does the heat get into the glass bed? There is a gap. There is a tiny gap, but it looks like much more of a gap on camera because the PCB heater up here is black as well. So, yeah. Is there a gap? There is a tiny gap. Yeah, we'll have to see how hot that actually... Batman, you can click that ban button. No problem. There is a bit of a gap here, but yeah, we'll have to test how hot this gets. Supposedly it works with ABS, so I would think that it actually gets up to at least like 90 or 100 degrees Celsius. Cool. So insert these into the spool holders and fit them into the indicated holes. Cool. So I'm guessing the left side is going to be extruder number 1 and the right side is going to be extruder number 2. Let's see. So the Sigma uses 3mm or 2.85mm filament, which is pretty rare these days. Again, I don't mind it as much. There is a bit of a discussion on it. I might have just crossed these threads. Crap. There is a bit of a technical discussion going on whether 1.75mm will actually allow the filament to heat faster in a hot end, which makes sense. But for the most part, for day-to-day use, it's not going to matter to a degree where it would be, where it would make a huge difference. But again, I would prefer seeing the system just being 1.75, maybe with the next revision. Okay, so we did that. Oh, now we can actually see it. So we fitted the glass, we placed these spool holders on the spool, we fitted them into the indicated holes. Perfect. Move Y-axis manually towards the front to work more comfortably. So that is, the Y-axis here. This one is already in the front. So by the way, all these axes are, except for the Z-axis back here, but like the X-axis and the Y-axis are all running on what looks like some linear rail. So this might be import rail, this might be brand name rail, but it's looking pretty good. So on X, there's like only the slightest bit of backlash in here. The X here, the Y got one on the right and on the left. and there is a belt on either side. So it's not a Core XY design, even though it could easily be, but it's a regular Cartesian X and Y right there. Core XY might actually be pretty tricky with independent X carriages. I realize this guy is actually in the way here. Right. We did that. Insert the Teflon tube until it stops. Right there. So this is inserted over here and there, and now I get it. So these plastic covered flat band cables are actually going to be clipped to the there's this black packaging film stuff on here, are actually going to be clipped to these Teflon tubes. I'm going to get you a better view of the IDEX hot ends in a second. Is that all the way in? Yes, it is. Thanks for the donation, John. As I lose my audio transmitter. Cool, there's one, and there is the second one. So these two hot ends are identical. There's not like a left and right model. These just seem to be two very identical hot end units, which begs the question, could you just put like 3 of these on here or 4? I guess you would run into space issues with belts and stuff, but I guess you could. I guess you could just like throw another one on there. Cool, we got that, and insert the opposite. Yeah, we did that. Attach the Bowden tubes with the blue clips. So BCN, if you're listening, there are no blue clips. I got plenty of black clips and white clips, but I don't have any blue ones, unless I've turned colorblind, but I don't think that's happened yet. Maybe swap in blue filament, or I guess the original one. The original BCN Sigma had a lot more of a blue-gray sort of theme. This one is all about the gray-white thing, and very little to no blue on here. So I guess these were blue in the original one. Yeah, and Spanish one says blue as well. Yep, so right there and back here. So Bowden pre-tensioning clips. Cool stuff. Really need those with these Bowden drives. We got that, and then we're clipping the. Does that focus? That doesn't focus. Sweet. Then we're clipping the Bowden tube to the flat band cable with the rest of the clips. Doesn't say which color, but these are white. Connect the power supply cable. Okay, so that should be the rest of the hardware setup actually. Don't touch the hot end. Yeah, okay. Setup assistant. So after this, the LCD should actually take us through the setup guide. Let's see. So I guess plop this over the Bowden tube first, and then this guy clips in. Cool. There, and then this slides in. Sweet. 1, 2. It's looking decent. Looking decent. So there's the. Yeah. There's the one that's done, and these are printed clips as well. Again, there is no reason to go with like fancy injection molded ones. The printed ones do work and can work just as well. 110 220 switch? I don't think so. Or hold on, I don't think so. Let me check. Decent printers use power supplies with active PFC, which don't need that switch, and this one doesn't have one. So unless it's on the bottom somewhere, but since this machine is from Spain, who I believe also use 220, with 230. Hoping nothing's going to drop out. Nope, nothing on the bottom, just a clean acrylic or very glossy plate. Cool. So we can plug that in. Am I on the wrong camera? I am on the wrong camera. That's better. No tools have been needed. Yes, that is very nice. How long will the stream take approximately? I don't know. I'm hoping it's not going to take that long because like usually when I do a build, the build takes 10 hours and then we spend another 2 hours trying to get the machine to work. In this case, we've now finished the build, so I guess we should be able to go straight to printing. Now, adhesion issues on the bed, on the glass bed, I don't expect with the 3D lac. If anything, it's going to stick too well. But like the manual right now is telling me to connect the power supply cable. The plug is located at the rear of the machine, yeah, obviously. And insert the SD card, and then we can follow the on-screen instructions. We've got a calibration sheet, a standard piece of paper. I don't know why manufacturers keep including this, but yeah, let's just see how far we get with just the installation of Cura. Cool. Let's see how far we get just with the LCD. And I don't think this cord is long enough. Let's see. Calibrate first. Yes, the LCD should take you through that process, I believe. There is a bit of calibration needed, just after shipping and stuff, just of the left and right extruders, hot ends, tool heads. Do I have a longer one? I do have a longer one, yeah, and it's actually plugged in right here. Huh. Well, that's not that much longer, but let's see. So let's see. Big moment of truth. Nothing. Now this guy doesn't have an... it does have an on-off switch right here. That's a jolt. All right, let's get the... is that a dent? Let's get the second camera on the display. By the way, lighting in here, beautiful. So it's, I believe they are doing that on purpose. Just this very, very blue, purpley lighting in here. It looks pretty cool. It's nice to see something else than just the standard blue. It actually looks like it's blue and red LEDs, so I'm thinking they might have some software controllability there. How can I tell that it's not a purple LED? Because my glasses have chromatic aberration at the edges, and if I look at it like this, I can see that it splits up into red and blue. Fun fact for you non-glasses wearers there. So, LCD, let's turn that camera on. There you go. I can actually zoom in much further than that. Is that readable? It should be. Isn't putting it in what? Wait, does it have RGB? Does it have RGB actually? That would be it. I'm pretty sure it does have RGB. Everything. It's 2017. Everything needs to have RGB these days. Totally. Yeah, so these are, I am pretty confident these are just the standard RGB strips. So, let's see. Do you want to run the setup assistant? Spanish upside down question mark there. Load filament, okay. Okay. No instructions there, but this makes sense. Left extruder is PLA. Is it going to tell me to insert the filament? Push it a bit harder. Let's see. So it looks like it is homing. And while the print is going, that's the goal here. We're going to try to start a print, and while that print is going on, I'm going to give you guys a tour around the machine and just let you look at a few of the details in here. once that is done, because right now I just want to get it printing. What if you could change colors? Load the filament until you feel it stop. So that is, I guess, this one over here. So it's, yeah, it stopped. Does the extruder actually feed already? Nope. The extruders are that was quick. It's telling me like, yeah, the extruders are now gonna move. Cool. Thank you for the donation. Guy with the Russian name that I can't read. Awesome. Probably has a temperature dependent RGB. That might, maybe, we'll see. It's right now it looks, no. It did heat up a bit. Press next and keep pushing the filament until it starts being pulled. Okay, so where can I reach in? I guess I should reach in from the front, but whatever. Is that the... Ah, there we... Oh, that is feeding quite quickly. Is that just the... It's just the left one. Okay. Does it actually have a filament switch? Filament detection switch? There is something down there. That looks like it's just a PCB for the motor. Processing. So right now we've got the filament right here and it's just slowly creeping up. It's sort of the same thing I saw with the Ultimaker 3 where it would load the filament, fast forward it to, you know, a set distance, and in the Ultimaker it was like this far away from the actual hot end, and then just slowly have it creeping in. But it looks like press load until the filament comes out, so we are actually getting, oh gosh, this is slow. We are actually getting a loading assistant. I'm gonna cheat and just undo the extruder and push it in by hand because there we go, much faster. Load. So we do have a bit of filament coming out here. That is perfect. So accept. Left side done. This is dangerous. Now, the good thing about... What are these? These are NEMA... Where's the motor for the y-axis? The good thing about the, 3D printer axes is they don't have a... They don't have a lot of force. So even if you get your fingers caught in here, it's not going to break it. It might... Would it break a pinky finger? I don't know. But it's not going to break an arm. It's not going to rip anything out. So... Yeah, we can rebuild him. Success! Okay, so left side is loaded. Now it's marking the right side. I'm hoping that is well in frame for you guys. Right side, we are loading PLA. So we could also load custom filament. That's cool. I'm gonna have to try out how hot these guys get. So it looks like when you're loading filament, you are already setting the print temperature and bed temperature, and the machine should remember that for the next prints, I guess. But for now, we are just loading PLA. What other filaments do I have in 3mm? We've got Poly Alchemy Elixir, which is a PLA plus, an impact modified one. What's this? This is standard PLA. We've got another prototype PLA. We've got Lulspot, Tallman, and Colorfab, whatever. Some sort of PET copolyester. And a bunch of cheap ABSs. What else? And I think I've got some Tallman stuff. Load the filament until we feel it stops, okay. The extruder going to move, okay. Did I actually double tap last time? I might have double tapped accidentally. Because right now that warning screen was there a lot longer. PVA in 3mm, I don't have any particular one that's like neutral. I still have the... Why did that unclip? I still have the Ultimaker spool, but I sort of don't want to use that on other machines. I don't know. I'll have to check with Matter Hackers if they can supply me with like a regular BCN approved PVA spool of filament. We'll see. Yeah, for now we're just gonna stick with the standard filament. So these are just 2 standard PLAs. Can I print a frog? Yeah, actually, let me show you that again. Where did I put it? Well, is this technically a frog? Is this or is it something else? What are these things called? What are these? It's a pretty beastly frog, if anything. But yeah, that's the sample print that came with the machine. I don't know if they actually printed it on this exact one. They probably didn't. This is, I'm you know, what I'm seeing here indicates that this was not printed on the, let's switch that around, was not printed on this exact machine because number 1, the bed is very clean. Number 2, there was no off-color filament in the extruders, or in the hot ends to be exact. So when we started extruding these, this one started extruding perfect gray. And this one is going to start extruding perfect white in a second, I think. Which would indicate that this machine hasn't printed that frog, but the hot ends aren't perfectly clean, so they might have printed something on the machine, but not that exact print. I'm pretty sure, you know, when you are getting an assembled machine, that they've tested it and at least printed something on it. Press next. Yeah, relax. Would I prefer this machine over the Prusa i3 Mark II? Guys, I've literally taken this thing out of the box 30 minutes ago. How can I have, you know, a real opinion on a machine that quickly? I've literally touched this thing for the very first time 30 minutes ago. It's like, I'm not gonna call anything on that yet. I've not even seen it printing, so yeah. Also, Prusa is a different class. Yes, that is true. That is very, very true. Yeah, I am going to try the whatever's pre-sliced on the. This is dangerous, the filming position. I'm going to try something that is pre-sliced on the SD card. Bit more. Yeah, so we are getting perfect white. So either they pulled out the, you know, whatever filament they used to test this machine perfectly, used clear filament, which would also be an option, or I don't know, did something else that would cause these to not have any, which would cause it to not have any filament residue in there. So, success! Printer calibration. So far, Wizard, absolutely on top of the game. Isn't Sigma that lens company? Yes, Sigma are making lenses, but the company is called BCN3D. The company is not Sigma. Sigma is their printer model, and Sigma also is just a Greek letter. So yeah. So right now it's actually, let me switch that up from. There we go. Come on. Nope. Okay, so both hot ends are done just by the time I get the camera aligned. The stuff is done. So either of these carriages has a small micro switch in the back, and if you've watched my recent video on the sensor showdown myth busting, you will know that these regular micro switches are very, very precise. These micro switches are very, very precise when it comes to you know how repeatable and how accurate, or yeah, repeatable. That's all they are, but they are very good in that regard. So let's check out what the machine is trying to tell us here. Hoping I'm not going to break anything here. So I've prepared as usual. Crap, I really need to fix that that chat overlay. Thanks for the tip. I don't think, well, whatever. Turn the left knob according to the instructions. So this is really, really cool. Now the printer has the print bed has 3 alignment points. It has one on the back, which is fixed. That's just a screw back there, and 2 thumb nuts on the front. And these thumb nuts have indicator marks on them. So right now it's telling me to turn the left knob according to the instructions. I'm actually going to rotate around because this is going to be confusing. Turn the left knob according to the instructions. So it wants me to turn this guy over here counterclockwise by half and an eighth of a rotation. Okay. So that's a quarter, that's another quarter, and that is the last eighth. 16th? I can't count. So right there, this is going to be hard. Right there, that's the wheels. There's one wheel and there is the other, so I guess you can see the marks right there. We did the left side, except, and the right side is going to be the same way. So 1 quarter, another quarter, and that's done. Except, so bed is leveled. So I'm guessing it's checking again, so you don't have to be like super spot on, like you only get one choice or one chance. And it's actually checking the left side against what the right side reads, which is interesting. Okay. Press next to get indications for every level knob. Was that the next button? Crap. Let's calibrate. See, the stream I'm seeing is, oh. Why is the next button on the left? That's not how Windows dialogues work. Shit, I might have to go back and redo that. Clean the nozzle using a piece of paper. A piece of paper? I'm not going to use a piece of paper. Okay. Was next on the other side before? Was that like... Did they switch it around? These bastards. I'm going to use some good old Spanish cloth for this. So, come on. Clean it. Next. It won't calibrate without level bed. I guess the bed is level. It just we just did the leveling. It should be fairly good. So follow the calibration sheet instructions. So that's gonna be this one over here. So let's see. I should start again. It won't calibrate. You messed up. We'll see. We'll just see what it does. Calibration sheet. The calibration sheet will be used to determine the distance between the nozzle and the hotbed. In the 7th step of the calibration process, place the sheet on the hotbed just below the nozzle. Okay, so essentially now we're doing height adjustment of the nozzle. So there is a bit of an instruction here. You know, finger here, hold the piece of paper there, and then you slide it under the nozzle. And if it grabs like that. then we've got the perfect height. So you should be able to pull it out, but when you push it in, as soon as it starts flipping up or bending up, then you are at the correct height. So let's see how this works. Okay, so accept would be the wrong one there. So I don't know if you can hear that, but there is a bit of a motor noise every time I click here, so let's see. Come on. How far off? We are quite far off. Can I just hold this thing? Are we so far off because I skipped that one step? Crap. There's like 5 millimeters of a distance there. Let's start over, because this is clearly not right. But why would they give me a skip option if it's gonna mess up the rest of the process? So check that out. So that's how far the nozzle was off just a second ago when we were trying to calibrate that. That is like a solid 5 millimeters. Let's try it again. And I guess we can skip through the filament loading process and that sort of stuff. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so if it's actually going to load filament, I think I should at least pull these out. Hold on. I can't get to the extruders. Skip should be a smaller button than accept. I don't want to grind through the filament right now, so let's see if we can move these by hand. We cannot, but we can push this guy down and pull it out by hand. So that should be good enough. Make sure those are going to move. Yeah, whatever. And this one is still cold. Cool. Ah! Also, there was no back button. Ah, that's loaded. Okay. Ah! And that is really hot. Holy crap. Right, so left side is loaded. Next one is going to load in a second. Actually, I'm just not going to take that out. It's just going to skip for a bit. Should be fine. Come on. This would be a good time to read chat. Skip and just make the complete. Are there calibration knobs on the bed? Yes, there are. I mean, right now I can't skip anything. So why is there no back button? I know I pressed the wrong button. Yo, that's getting a ban. No setup assistance. So should I just skip this thing and just reboot it? Whatever, we're gonna be there in a second. That is not what we wanted. Because now the extruder has ground to the filament. And now we've got filament extruding. Cool. Done, except printer calibration. Okay. So we should be at the point where it just probes the bed again, and that should come out with just 0 offset on the 2 front knobs. When am I doing the cheap when I'm gonna do the Prusa I cheap build next week, maybe, I guess. All right, so let's see, this guy's off. Okay, press next to get indications for every level knob. Oh, okay, apparently we are an 1/8 off. Except, so it's also measuring at the back, so that I guess is where it gets like the absolute position, because if it would only measure on the left and right, it would get an offset between left and right, but it wouldn't know how far off it is towards that third leveling point, which is a fixed point in this case. Guys, am I going crazy? Wasn't next just on the right side? Did they actually switch that up? Did it actually switch? I'm gonna have to watch the stream for this. Turn the right knob by 2 in this direction. Okay. Did it switch around? Am I going crazy? Maybe. I mean, we've got a recording, so we can look it up. What is that? Nope, I'm not going crazy, or nope, it wasn't switched around. Okay. CX is calibrate. So if you want to skip forward, if you're watching the recording, this is the point where you should skip to. There was no skip option before, so yeah, UI design. Cool. Now that the question is toward, whether the what we had before, where there was no skip option, was actually That's better. Okay, that's like a millimeter up. Where there was no skip option, whether that was, you know, the button moved. It was. German is allowed in chat, but questions about BQ filaments are not. I am sick and tired of them. And, you know... Oh, hold on! What? And I would have advised my moderators to ban on-site, or to temp ban on-site. So, up, not down. What the... why is it... that's why it was so far... We didn't need to do this. Okay, so the down button doesn't need the tool... doesn't move the tool head down, it moves the bed down. Ah, God, okay. It says... Guys, you can see this right here, right? It says extruder, left extruder. We are moving the left extruder up and down. Again, UI design. We are moving the left extruder up and down, but as I move down, the distance gets greater to the bed because the bed moves down. I know it makes sense. I know once you get it, it's for the bed, but it says it literally says extruder here. It literally says left extruder, and I am moving the left extruder down as I press the up arrow. Okay, we are getting closer. We are at like a millimeter or so. Also, why is there no sanity check? If we're 5 millimeters off in the wrong direction, why didn't the software say anything? Okay, we're getting close. One more, two more. I can feel it grabbing, but that's probably just the molten filament. There we go. So now it's grabbing. I can still push it in and supposedly... Ah, there we go. Now it's bulging up. Cool. Done that. Adjusting temperature. So I guess now we do the other side? Yeah, we do need to do the other side. You can't move the extruder up and down, can you? You can't, but printing a test. How does it know what the height offset for the nozzles is? Is that just what we're calibrating with the test print? The extruder cannot move down, but the distance, we are decreasing the distance from the extruder to the bed, and that would be the down arrow in a logical setup, I'd say. Right. Select which line looks better to print a first layer. If none is good, press redo. These are all really decent. That's probably not gonna show much, but so right there, it printed 5 lines. I don't know, they all look really good. I don't know about how much it's changed it between lines. Probably not gonna get that on camera. If only the manual focus wasn't so sensitive. Are we one? There we go. So there are our 5 lines. From up top would probably be a better perspective, but even if we zoom in that far, I mean, which one should I pick here? Looks better to print a first layer. If none is good, press redo. These are... I guess I'd go with like 3, the middle one. If I had to pick one. If I had to pick a favorite. Let's see. So, Z-axis right extruder calibrate. Should I have removed this? Should I have removed that? Let me check. Clean the nozzle using a piece of paper. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it on there because I don't know if it's actually gonna use that pattern to align other stuff too. I don't think it does, but shit, it's clean. Follow the calibration sheet instructions. Okay, so same thing again. It says you are moving the bed. Every time the button up is pressed, the surface moves toward the nozzle. Okay, so it does say that. But the interface just suggests otherwise. That is one expensive printer? It depends on what your reference is. I mean, if all you're looking at is $150 ANET A8s, then yeah, this thing is gonna sound expensive at 2,700 euros, dollars, whatever. But if you're like looking at a workhorse, then maybe that price is justified. What's in here? Nobody knows. Can you close it off to print ABS besides using a cardboard box? So I guess the front, let me see, this probably isn't going to overhang. So the front you could close off relatively easily. The top, not so much. With these things hanging out, you would have to build something like the MakerBot Replicator 2X hood on top of this. Not very elegant. It would work. They might be selling something like that at some point, but it's not made to be enclosed, and I don't think they're selling anything like a close-off kit, even a partial one at this point. So select which line looks better to print it. To print a first layers. None is good. Press redo. So that is this one over here, and again, these all look very decent. There's maybe, I don't know, 10 microns difference between these. I'm gonna go with 4. Hold on, 2. That way. Okay, I'm gonna go with the second from the left. Yeah. Storage box on top. Sigma is, again, the Sigma is open source. The Sigma is actually very open source. It is one of the most open source machines I've seen in a while. I'd say it is more open source than the Prusa Mark II. There's bombs published, there's the design files published, there's like everything published under a CERN license, CERN open hardware license. The firmware is GPL. Is it Marlin? I don't know if it's Marlin, but it's probably not. It might be based on Marlin, I don't know. But that is GPL, so you know, everything is there, and it's not just, you know, it's not just released with an open license, but it's actually published in a way where you could build the thing realistically. From left to right, choose the best aligned pair of lines. Press redo for press redo if none fits. Fits. So this is, I mean, this is sort of like, you know, inkjet printer calibration when you calibrate your oh crap, do you get this up here? When you calibrate your inkjet printer the first time, when it matches the color and black and white cartridges or print heads to each other, it's sort of the same. It's sort of the same thing right here. And I guess you know, with a machine this complex, especially when you have a non-standard solution like the dual independent X carriages, it does become necessary. So that's what I printed. Frame of the left extruder, frame of the right extruder right there. And you can see this one, the white, so the right extruder was much further to the left, and then it just started creeping to the right over here. So essentially we get to pick which one of these looks the best to us, and I would go with... There are too many USB cords here. I am going to go with... Let me get the camera out of the way. Number... This one. That's number 7. Cool. Next up. Y-axis calibrate. Blur axis. Oh, because we're not on autofocus. Y-axis calibrate. The Y-axis. Okay, so I guess it's doing the same thing we just did, but for the Y-axis. I like how the noise matches the LCD visualization. That is, I don't know if that's accidental or on purpose, but it sounds kind of cool. So left side is printed over here. I'm gonna need the other side as well. Yeah, okay, so noise-wise, it is not the most silent printer I've ever heard. Is it? Nah, but it seems like the drivers can do a really good job moving silently when they want to. The fan noise isn't an issue, so right now we've got the 2 hot end fans spinning up right there, and it sounds like there's also some sort of fan somewhere down here. But noise-wise, it's okay. It's really it's not bad. It's not super silent. It's very okay. So this is from top to bottom. So I guess from back to front. Choose the best aligned pair of lines. Press redo if none fits. So that will be number 6. Congratulations, your Sigma is ready. Happy printing. Cool, so the manual right now would take me through Cura installation, and it looks like they're still using Cura 15.06. That's the most recent old one, I think. Does stock Cura have profiles for the BCN? Whatever. We are going to try to print something from the SD card. So Simone was saying he was having a bit of issues, He was having problems printing from the SD card. Let's see. So, ooh, that's quite a steep angle. Click, click, but very satisfying. I guess I should clean off the print bed first, and what I'm liking so far is the... Haha, that actually looks decent. What I'm liking so far is, you know, this is just clean glass, this is just heated glass. The PLA sticks reasonably well here, so either this is a good... It actually sticks really well. Either this is, you know, a decent type of glass that they're using, because there are some glass types that just don't want PLA to stick to it at all, no matter what you do. I should have taken it out of the printer, I just realized. Or it is PLA that really just sticks well, because there are very significant differences in the grades of PLA that you can get and how well they, you know, will stick to a glass sheet, even when it's you know, the exact same glass sheet for two different materials. Cool, so that realigns, and we're gonna see how well this realigns as we take it in and out of the machine. Cura 15.06 is not good for soluble support. Yes, they did a lot of good stuff with the new Cura. I touched something. They did a lot of good things with the new Cura, because obviously the new Cura 2 is optimized for the Ultimaker 3. They should have called it Cura 3 now that I think about it. Yeah, you have a lot more options with the new Cura. But of course, I'm going to try it with the 15.06 with the default profile. Sample parts. Look at that, you're even getting... software. Okay, so you're even getting Sigma printed parts 0 items, so I'm guessing that's the STLs and stuff. Firmware, that might be the firmware source code. Actually, before we do that, before we lock this thing in the printer, let's just check out what we get on the actual SD card. So let's see. Where are my buttons? That's the button, and that off. Cool. So on the SD card, we get software, Mac, Windows. We get view repository for Windows. So essentially, just download the newest thing for the Windows software. We are getting Sigma printed parts. So that is a bunch of STLs. So, for example, SD spacer. That's going to open on the other screen. There we go. So that is the entire set of printed parts. That doesn't look like it's aligned for printing. But you get the idea. All the STLs included. Sample parts, G-codes. So inside sample parts we are getting... Ooh, that's the one we're going to print. Since there doesn't seem to be a frog in here. And single extruder plus STL for all this stuff. We're going to check that out in the review. Printing profiles, Cura and Simplify 3D. Manuals, so that stuff is included in as well, and firmware is empty. Okay, so let's try. I don't know if that was okay just removing it like that, but it seems to be fine. So sample parts. Oh, apparently not. Okay, let's have it reload that. Sample parts, G codes. Independent dual extruder, 3D benchy. 3 hours 29, 2 grams. 2 grams? 2 gram. 2 grams of filament. That sounds like it's too little, but 3 hours 29. Holy crap. I suggested you the 3D hubs that is the 3D hubs test? Holy crap. I like how it gives you an estimate. I don't know if that's just integrated in the G-code. I think it would be because I don't think it actually 1 hour 44 calibration target, because I don't think it can actually real-time assess these. I would like to print the bench. the touchscreen is really sensitive. It's not a resistive one, it's a capacitive one, so it, you know, the slightest touch does trigger it, which might have been an issue a bit earlier. So I would like to print the 3D Benchy, but at 3 hours 29, it's like, I don't think I want to stay up that late today. And the Marlin keychain at 144 is already long enough. Let's accept. Okay. So 2 extruders, temperatures 48, 46, heated bed at 42. That is fan speed for something. Ah, that is speed. Okay, so that is sprint speed. Settings, we can real-time tweak temperatures for left extruder, right extruder bed, speed. Let's see what else we can. Oh, okay, so that's just the icons. That's everything you can real-time tweak. There is apparently no extrusion multiplier tweak in here, but well, let's just see. So apparently while heating up, it does take a bit longer to refresh. 1 hour 44. 3D lag? I don't think the time is probably wrong. I don't think the time is wrong. Dual extrusion stuff does tend to take a long time, trust me. 3D lag. Be sure to apply some 3D lag. Well. Okay, so chat is saying 3D lag. Are you sure? So I just hit cancel. Is when I hit cancel on cancel, is that cancel the cancel or cancel the print, or is the, what is it? I'll just say accept the cancel. Again, UI design. It might be, you know, it might be just a bit of stuff also lost in translation, because, you know, this is obviously translated by someone who is not a native English speaker, as you can tell by the, you know, upside down question marks at the beginning of some of the sentences. But yeah, that is something that could just use a bit of tweaking. Risk it without 3D lag. Okay. The thing is, no matter what so it's processing. Let's just take it to bed while it does that. The thing is, no matter what I do in these live streams, it's always like, you know, that there's always someone going to be complaining about what I do. When I tune up the speed during a print, there's going to be people complaining in the YouTube comments, hey, why did you tune up the speed? That was an unfair test. There were, at the same time, there were like 50 people telling me, shouting at me in chat to crank the chat up as fast as I can. Where is it going to print? I'm thinking it's going to print in center, but well. Is this how that one guy died of a 3D printer? Yeah. Supposedly. Wow. Center. Okay, so it doesn't matter where it's going to print. It is going to stick. Holy crap. I need to open a window. Where did our printed... Where did our files go? Files are gone. I only get firmware. What's going on here? I can enter firmware. There's obviously nothing in there. Ooh, what is this? Nope. I mean, the file was there a second ago. Send some 3D lag to the US, please. The thing with 3D lag is it's a pressurized, flammable danger container. So shipping this stuff around, not really an option. Some sellers will ship it, but others just downright refuse to sell it or, you know, have it in their store, because shipping this stuff is borderline illegal. So yeah. Okay, let's see if the files are back. They are sample parts. G-code, independent dual extruder. Marvin keychain, accept. Cool. Yeah, the story with the hairspray is, yeah, some guy apparently used up 2 entire hairspray cans. They didn't say if it was actual 3D lac or some other stuff. He apparently used up 2 entire cans of hairspray next to a magic shop storage area where they had flash paper and everything stored, and somehow he managed to blow himself up, which is unfortunate, but then again, natural selection. You know, when you have, you know, hairspray and create an explosive environment and have flash paper next door, maybe like don't play with fire. I don't know. Awful tragedy, yes. It might have been a bit misrepresented by the news reporting on it, because what you were seeing a lot of was guy died of a 3D printer, which was probably not the case. But yeah. Cool. Let's see if this thing works. I mean, I'm already uncomfortable using this stuff indoors. Again, it is a flammable liquid. I guess, you know, at the age range of 60 or 12 to 18 years, you might have played around with hairspray or deodorant or some other stuff and just, like, you know, did the old flamethrower thing. You will know how flammable these things are. It's like, yeah. Cool. Oh, for sure. That's nice. By the way, 3D lac does smell like hairspray. It does have that. I don't know if it's the hairspray component itself, or if it is, you know, a perfume component. Perfume. I rarely use that word, but it does have that hairspray smell to it. So I guess that is gonna, you know, notify you of a significant presence of that stuff in the air before it becomes an issue. PI sheets. Yeah, PI sheets are pretty hard to get here, so while we talk about that, let's adjust the camera. PI sheets are fairly hard to get here. What you can get is, as usual, PEI sheet on its own without the adhesive backing, and adhesive backing on its own without the PI sheet. So you would need to combine those two yourself, which usually ends up more expensive than you'd like. Prusa sells it at $9 per sheet per, of course, Prusa size sheet. It's a bit oversized, so it might fit on other printers as well. But then you also have to add shipping for that, which is not the cheapest stuff, or the cheapest option if you want stuff shipped around through Europe. Okay, pretty decent pace. What I am noticing is there is a new sound, which is the part cooling fan. That thing does have that PWM buzz to it. That's actually a more annoying sound than the fans and motors themselves, because like this constant, it sounds like a mosquito. It might want to work on that. Can I get the microphone close to the printer? Let's actually turn the secondary cam on again. So obviously with my setup here, microphone is right here in the glasses, so if I tap that, it might blow someone's speaker. I'm sorry about that. But my microphone is right here in my glasses, so it might change the way you perceive the loudness of this thing. I can do the following. I can unplug my lavalier microphone and just give you the audio from the Zoom H4. for a second and then plug it right back in. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is, it's obviously a lot quieter. Let's crank it up. Crank it up a lot. Okay, so right now, there's the microphone. And it should actually be, is it stereo? It should be stereo, maybe. No, it's not, it's mixed down. But there's the microphone. There's me right next to the printer. I'm talking at a normal volume, loudness. So yeah, just to have a reference for that. Obviously I sound like crap right now because we are all echoey and stuff, but yeah. That's the reference right there. I can also put up a decibel meter 1 meter away. Yes, the microphone and glasses idea is blatantly stolen from Adam Savage. He actually reposted that when I tried or retweeted when I tried it just with hot glue. I've been using this the last few live streams, and it's working out really well. If you check out my Twitter, like 2 weeks ago or something, I posted a picture of the 3D printed microphone clip that's in that's super glued to my glasses now. Works really well. Okay, let's plug that thing back in. And I gotta talk really soundly because this microphone is still super hot. Okay, so 40, that was the level before. Okay, decibel meter at 1 meter distance, so that's roughly 1 meter. You guys got the PewDiePie story, right? Good thing this is in the small thumbnail, so it's going to be very pixelated. But I know this is going to be roughly 1 meter away. At arm's length, and it's 50 to 55 decibel with the highly precise calibrated decibel meter. 50 to 55 at a 1 meter distance, which is the regular distance. Right there. I can see the headlines already. Are these my main glasses? Yes, they are. That's just how I roll. Yeah, so I don't know what these stepper drivers in here are. I can't really tell what they sound like, whether they're well-tuned, Allegro ones, Trinamic, or TI drivers. It might be. I'm gonna have to take a look at that and open it up. So we are printing a dual extruder Marvin. It is going to take a bit until we get to the dual extruder part. So I'm going to try and find... I'm going to try and find a reference for that. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Marvin keychain in... Can we get a... Thinking that's the one. If only it had a good picture. How am I liking my OnePlus 3T? I'm liking it a lot. Okay, that's like... Marvin dual color. I'm thinking that's the one. Check it out. So I'm thinking that is the one that we are printing right now, but hopefully in a bit of a better, hopefully a bit of a better quality right there. But yeah, that's the one you see. I don't know if the keychain ring is actually the other color as well, but we're gonna get a different color face in these rings around the ears, headphone thingies, whatever. Yeah. What upgrades do I recommend for the A8? A8? I don't know. GearBest hasn't sent me one yet. They promised me one 4 months ago, but it never happened. So can't really comment on that. Yeah, so the display is saying 1 hour 35 minutes remaining 8%. Right now it is moving pretty fast, even though we are printing at like 100 micron or so. But it's gonna slow down a bit once we get the second extruder involved, because I think it might at least do like a wipe cycle, a purge cycle or something. It might even cool and heat the hot ends before and after a switch. We're gonna have to see about that, but that's the point where it will slow down a lot. What infill is this printing at? What slice is it using? I don't know. This is just the supplied sample G-code that came on the SD card. Ah, yes, I did want to get you guys a walk around. Let's grab that camera. Should I grab an autofocus lens? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Plus, this camera has the long USB cord on it, so... Shit, hold up. Okay, power cord. Be free. Okay, I'm gonna have to swap the battery real quick. I am running this stuff off of this power supplies usually. Ah, first switch. Okay. Let's see if the camera comes back. It does. Cool. Okay. So first switch happening right here. It's a bit of a... Where's this coming from? Probably got stuck on the x-axis somewhere. Okay, it switched, but did it actually print anything? I do not know. Okay. Let me just set this down real quick. So, chat, I will try to answer your another switch, okay. I will try to answer your questions that you post about the machine and the hardware design, and try to show you the stuff. Let's see. Yo. Is it purging? It might be, so it's got... Is it... Is my second camera on? Haha. Am I in frame? Probably. It did a little dot. Ah, yes, it is doing a little dot. Good thing I have the controller over here. So, if you want to call this setup overkill, this would be the time to do it. So, game controller right here for camera switching, laptop, H4 recorder, capture cards, 2 screens, everything. So, Let's see. Racist for using white filament. I'm also using gray filament, so don't really know what the implications of that would be. So I did want to switch lenses, but yeah, there's the IDEX hot ends. So these do look sort of like E3D V somethings, V5s. They have a really thick mount. Oh, the Velcro is sticking to my sweater. Cool. They have a really thick mounting flange up here, what looks like a mounting flange at least. And you know, through-hole thermistor back here, all looking very decent. You can sort of see the carriages just poking out over here. The Velcro of the capture card is sticking to my sweater. I'm sort of liking it. Yeah. So dual IDEX hot end. So that's the idea. You can swap out this entire part. You take it out. I guess these two screws you will have to undo, and then you get a different hot end, nozzle size, nozzle material, whatever. So let's check out a bit of the industrial design of the machine while we're at this angle. So everywhere where there's connectors and stuff, there are PCB boards. So there is a board right here, a board back there. That's actually okay. We can actually see the Trinamic logo on that. So they've got, it looks like they've got the stepper drivers broken out. Let's switch over here. So that is a stepper driver. There's the Trinamic chip right in here. And stepper connector, power connector, I assume, and a flat band cable in the back. So stepper drive is right on site. That is interesting. Shortens the lengths of of the motor cables. I'm hoping that didn't lose a step. So cool solution right there. Other than that, this side just has the linear rail right here. And, you know, another PCB right here. I'm guessing that is one of the stepper motors right down here. So right in here, there's a NEMA 14 stepper motor for one of the X carriages. And the other one is over here. So if you look at the X-axis, there's actually one stepper motor right here and the other one on that side. And each one is responsible for one of the assemblies. Trinamic chips, someone's asking in chat, Trinamic is just a brand of stepper drivers. They are a German company and sort of make some of the most advanced stepper drivers you can find in the 3D printing range. There are better ones for, you know, real high-end applications, but these have sort of, you know, gathered a bit of fame for just making really silent and powerful stepper drivers for these tiny motors we're using here. I lost a step? Oh, come on. Okay, that is entirely my fault. So apparently these X-axis carriages don't have too much of a torque reserve. So it just, you know, it just bumped the lens with the wires up here, and it immediately lost a step. So we're gonna have to see how much of a difference that actually makes in day-to-day use. Let's see if the print menu is gone again. No, it's not. I'm gonna have to set this camera down. I mean, typically I would expect it to be much less of an issue. You know, just bumping the wires up here. This shouldn't put that much torque on the entire assembly, but apparently it was enough to have it skip. And also this skirt, like, isn't looking good. This is a bit too high up. But obviously, if it doesn't make a difference in day-to-day use, then I'm not going to give the printer crap about losing a step there. Now, the interesting thing is, come on. that first layer that we got. I'm hoping this camera is going to be able to focus. That's like the usual issues. Come on. Come on. Oh, she needs to put it on autofocus. There we go. That first layer is looking like it's like way too high. And that's also how the skirt looked. But I don't know. It did stick down well. It just looks like it's way too high up. We did do the calibration. The calibration looked really good. I don't know. We're gonna have to see about that. For now, let's just restart the Marvin. Independent dual extruder, Marvin, keychain, accept. So it looks like I'm just gonna have to leave you guys with the printer while this thing gets finished. Never touch a running system. Yeah, like physically don't touch it. But let's just keep on touring while this thing heats up. Okay, so, there's that. Okay, so the bed assembly, let's check that out right here. So the bed is actually this long. I guess we can see it best from the side. The bed assembly is actually this long aluminum folded steel part that goes all the way to the back. If you look from the bottom there, that's the fixed adjustment point in the back here. And then we've got the two adjustment knobs up front right here. These are the ones that the software tells you to adjust. And the one back here, that is just the fixed one. Actually, you know what? If I actually put the camera in auto exposure, then it might look good. It might also look good. Cool. Z-axis, the rest there. Could turn this guy back on. Z-axis, the rest back here. So we've got like these standard blocks. These look like, are these 12 millimeter? They might be a bit larger than that. But just regular rails and a threaded, or a lead screw right there, TR8 or something. Really no spectacular setup. What else? So spool mounts, spool holders obviously in the bottom here. So the filament, these recesses in the bottom here, this feels like a plastic part. These recesses down here, they don't do anything for the spool, but it's completely, you know, the bearing work is done by this spool holder part right here. The filament then goes in this opening up front here, apparently travels under the spool and then comes out the back. I don't think we're going to be able to see that anywhere, but it comes out the back here and then goes up into the extruder, which is like a massive hunking aluminum one. And then of course you've got the Bowden setup that goes right there's the extruder, goes up here around and then into the tool head. Cool, so someone's asking, do you really need such a good display on a 3D printer? So we've got a capacitive touchscreen, medium high resolution, so probably something like 320 by 240 or, you know, 480 by 320. Full color LCD. It's nice to have. I'm not saying you don't need it, but then again, these displays, if you look at how much these actually are on AliExpress or something, it doesn't really matter. The bigger cost factor is going to be the software. So once you develop the software for this, then, you know, putting a display on every printer really doesn't make that much of a difference. So let's just walk around. So the back of the printer is just nothing. It's just a whole lot of nothing. Just really clean look right there. Power switch, we already used that one twice. Power switch right on the side here. And this is like a fan outlet or something. Yeah, so you can see the right extruder is always moving along in the X direction with the left one, because they are on the same carriage, but of course they can move left and right independently. Also, one thing I guess I can show off is right here, if this huge softbox wouldn't cause reflections like crazy. Right here, this is on the end of the axis. We're not going to see this one in action for a bit, but this is essentially the dump bucket for either one. So you get a... Where are we? Oh, this is hard. There we go. So you get a little wiper lip right here. This is a flexible plastic, and then a bucket. You can already see the scraps right there. So the extruder actually dumps a bit of plastic in here and then wipes it off the nozzle right there, which can work, does work, should work. And it's probably much less plastic and a bit more reliable than printing a priming tower. So yeah. Ah, cool. It looks like Eric from BCN has made it here. The stepper driver is integrated into the back of each stepper motor. Well, not quite, but there are drivers on close to each motor, which is, I don't know how much of a difference it actually makes. It might be something to investigate, but theory says that the shorter, like, powered motor cables like that are, the better your driver is going to be able to control the current through the motor, and you know, the more torque it's going to get at the same current, the more solid it's going to be, yada yada yada, the entire pack essentially. So shorter wire runs are better, if you couldn't have guessed. And just having the drivers broken out like that should help with that. So Simone was saying the G-code file might skip again. I don't think it will, because there was a very clear correlation between me reaching into the printer, or essentially the wires right here bumping into my camera lens, and the part skipping. It might just be a case of these NEMA 14 motors being just barely enough to run the machine. Let's check if they get hot. They are, well, they are warm, but they're not like scalding warm. So I'd say like 40 degrees or something, which is not a lot. Smart automation 36004-08A. Yeah, so what I really have to give kudos to Sigma, to BCN for, is just the way they are handling open source. What is going on in chat? The way they are handling open source with this machine, it's like, it's really well documented, and it's not just the like the STL files and a few PDFs of the sheet metal parts. It's everything. It's the original solid parts. It's a full bill of materials, including suppliers, which is great to see. It's, you know, STL files for the printed parts, of course, firmware, including revisions and everything. So you get the full package, which is great. Which really is great. 14, yeah, NEMA 14, that is correct. Are there any coupon codes for dust filament? Unfortunately, they're not. I think they are cheap enough already. Still RAMs based? Eric, is this thing still RAMs based? I don't think it is. It would be. It would be. I would at least expect like a improved, a reworked RAMs. It might be RAMs compatible, which, you know, if you have a printer that runs the Malin firmware, pretty much, you know, every board is RAMs compatible. Now that I think about it, pretty much every board I own is RAMs compatible. But yeah, I don't think there is an actual RAMs in here. That would be super weird. Electronics. What is the nozzle diameter? Good question. So what I did see was like a 0.61. Again, there are different, I want to say print cores. There are different IDEX hot ends available that you can swap in and out of you know, of each tool head. So you could put a large nozzle one in one tool head and a smaller nozzle or a hardened one in the, oh, I shouldn't touch that, in the other one. But yeah, Tech Phoenix is asking, why did dust filament change to 800 gram spools? It's always been 800 gram spools, but it's also 16 euros per 18 grams, so it's 20 bucks a kilogram, so no deal. Still the same at Mega. Yeah, so I guess this would be a good time to talk about at Mega versus what's the one on here? Let me check. Atmel something. That's the Do It Wi-Fi. We'll be checking that out soon. Versus 32-bit boards, essentially. My standing on that has always been like, what 32-bit gives you is more features and more speed. Cartesian machines like this one are just at the very at the very edge of what the 8-bit at Mega and Marlin based boards can still handle. You might have, excuse me, you might have seen the speed, the LCD updates. It's not super responsive, like the SD card entries load like blop 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 blop. It's okay, it's decent, it's usable, but it could be better with a 32-bit board. That's one of the advantages there. Also, like step output, if you're using 32 times microstepping with a standard Marlin firmware, the processor is just going to run out of processing power and, you know, will start slowing down with those 32 times microstepping. That is also something a 32-bit board, like the Smoothie, Do It, replicate-based stuff, can just handle. So yeah, if you have a machine that works like a Cartesian one, also Deltas sort of do need a 32-bit one. But either one can work. It's just, you know, 32-bit just gives you more options, and is probably going to be the way forward for 3D printing, because it is the stuff we can do right now is, you know, at the limit of what the Atmega can handle. So yeah, it's going to happen sooner or later that stuff switches to 32-bit. It's just going to take a while, probably. Customer C-Tuning is asking, why doesn't the hot end generally integrate needle valves to prevent oozing, so we wouldn't need the oozing container besides the print bed? I can't really answer that. So there have been experiments along those lines in the, let's say, earlier RepRap days, you know, when people were really just figuring out how to make a hot end. So that was like pre-JHEAD times. There were experiments with a literal needle valve going into the hot end. I don't know if it was a reliability thing or whether it was a manufacturability thing, but it didn't really catch on. Plus, with you know, with single extruder designs, you didn't really need any sort of valve, any sort of needle valve to physically cut off the flow of one hot end. So I guess it just never caught on. But with dual extrusion now being viable, being a real thing, with something like the Sigma or the Ultimaker or the quad extruder of Prusa, though that one doesn't need a needle valve, maybe we're gonna see more of it. And Dave from MetaHackers has also arrived. So yeah, I mean, with the Sigma so far, it wasn't the smoothest ride. The calibration that I pressed the wrong button on, okay, that is, I'll give it that much. But I do blame the interface for that. It doesn't feel like a UI designer has actually looked over that. And also like the fact that it skipped a step on the print just before this one. Again, I'll have to look further into that, how much force and how much interference it actually takes for these carriages to lose a step. That is like worst case, obviously. I'm thinking they could maybe, I'm guessing there are end stops here, yes there are. They could integrate something like Markforged is doing, where they just, you know, for example, every time the hot end runs into one of the dump buckets, just check whether the end stop still triggers at the correct distance, and at least like throw an error. That would be super easy to implement. Maybe we'll see that down the road. Because obviously if you have two independent X carriages, you do have sort of twice the chance of something losing a step. Cowboy is asking why I'm not using... Oh my god. Why I'm not using enclosed printers. I am using enclosed printers. There's actually an OSB box in the corner over there that houses one of my Prusa Mark IIs. Totally necessary for ABS. I did make a video on it. Somebody might be able to link it, but yeah, most of these aren't enclosed because like the regular material, the easier materials, PLA, PETG, nylons, all don't need an enclosed build envelope. The only materials that really needed are the ABS family. So ABS, HIPS, ASA. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe PMMA also. That's also very similar material. Those do profit a lot from an enclosed build volume, but all the other materials don't need it. Yo, thanks for that part-time Ronin. Rip headphones. What? Does the hot end keep getting cleaned every time? Yes, it does. So, zoom, wrong direction. I'm guessing we can sort of see that right here. You can see the bucket over here. So this is the left extruder. I shouldn't put my hand here. The left extruder bucket. So right now, plop, it went over the lip, which is like right here. And it essentially just wipes down the nozzle in one direction. I'm guessing then it primes a bit and wipes it in the other direction, right there. And that's the way it keeps the hot end clean. Who wrote in the back of Tom's machine? What? In the back of Tom's machine? Does it cool down every time? Let's see. They are both at 195 still, so I'm thinking it does not. Right now it's extruding a bit. Does it cool down every time? Sigma, look inside. Oh, that. Okay, that stuff. That's just fuzz from the... There you go. That's stuff. That's just fuzz from the... I can't see, too many windows open. Fuzz from the extrusion alignment test process. Anything else? No. Alright, that's gonna be hard. Yes! Perfectly in focus. So you can start seeing like the white center of the Marvin getting built in here. This is not an 8-bit write. I don't know if this is an 8-bit or not. Someone might be able to confirm this. It does feel like an 8-bit. It might even be running Marlin. I didn't look that up actually. Did I? I didn't. But I know Marlin has support for this sort of dual independent X carriage setup, so it would make sense. Yeah. What layer height this is? Probably 100 micron or so. Will the bucket fill up? So the right bucket is like still has a lot of space, and I'm thinking as it extrudes, it's actually going to compress down a bit. So yeah, Mega 2560. Yeah, at Mega 2560 again, if it works, it's fine. But of course, like things like the LCD screen are going to be a bit slower with the 8-bit processor. Just a nature of the game. Yeah, it does have something dangling out there, which yeah, cool. So yeah, the thing with the switching procedure is, yeah, someone's saying, or Ralph is saying, too bad the code can see the filament switch coming and start the procedure faster. So the extrusion and wiping process essentially. So the idea would be that as soon as one side is done printing, it would move over, and at that time the other side would already be primed and ready to go. I don't know if Marlin actually supports that. If it actually lets you, you know, run and finally control one side of, or one extruder, while the other one is also moving independently of that. I don't think that is currently implemented, but it would be cool if they just go and move over as a unit. That would be cool. But currently not implemented. The other thing is also that would be something the slicer would have to do, and that would either require a custom post-processing script for QRG code, or you know, require an actual you know, modified version of Cura. Yeah, so one of the things that are going to be one of the interesting things about this machine, it's getting late. 20 till 9 p.m. One of the interesting things about this machine is going to be how well it actually performs with PVA, because what I can see happening is you know, one extruder being on one side and waiting. If that's the PVA extruder, it's going to be waiting, it's going to be heated up, it's going to be cooking the PVA while the other one prints. So if you have parts that have a lot of just regular build material and very little PVA, that might become an issue that the other hot end just is continuously heated up, and we'll see. Maybe there are settings in the Cura version that they're releasing or they're publishing that do allow you to turn on like a cooling cycle once the hot end is not used anymore. Did I print a hand spinner? Yes, that was 2 weeks ago in a live stream. Can you print two small things at the same time? Idabel says no. That's unfortunate. That's actually something I think Marlin does support. The firmware would be able to do that, because it's just, you know, essentially mirroring what one extruder does to the other. That is something that should be possible to implement, but I don't think it is implemented right now in the firmware. Has anyone made a dual Titan direct drive E3D hardened with pancake motors? I'm guessing chat on screen is a good idea. It's interesting because what I'm seeing in OBS Studio is faster than what I'm seeing in the YouTube browser window. Wow. Do I know any good tutorials for customizing the user interface of Marlin on a full color touchscreen? Nope. Never got into that topic yet. It would be hard to do 2 prints at the same time. It's actually not that hard. So if you look at, for example, these stacker machines, the Stacker S2 and Stacker S4, which are arguably a bit more expensive. I think they're like $8,000 and $10,000, but they are doing exactly that. So they have like dual independent x-axis for the S2 or quad independent x-axis for the S4. And one of their big features is that they can actually print multiple copies at the same time. You've got like a 500mm wide bed, and you know you have 4 hot ends on there, just, you know, printing the exact same thing at the same time. So it's definitely possible, and it's being done already. I think that thing also runs Marlin. I don't know. Yeah, x-axis is tied to the y, so you would have to line those up. So you're not going to be able to print 2 things that are completely different. You might be able to print just print just like 2 copies of the same thing, but you're never going to be able to print 2 items that are completely different on this sort of setup, again, because this entire y-axis moves as a unit, and the 2 carriages just have the option of moving along that unit. Stacker runs Repetier, okay. What tests do I have planned for this machine? The usual suit, but I mean, looking at how it prints, I guess we can check off just print quality off the list. That's what I sort of... Did I? Gosh. We can check print quality off the list. But so here's a bit of an issue. Let me just finish that sentence. Okay. We can check print quality off that list. The one big thing we're going to be looking at is reliability, because right now what I'm seeing is it's very sensitive. Especially these tiny NEMA 14 motors are very, very sensitive. And Simone, if you're still listening or watching, here's something that might be what could have caused the issues for you. So what I'm seeing right now is right. Can I tilt you? No, I cannot. Hold tight. So right there. So these this wire and extruder set, essentially, it is getting curved by the filament inside it a bit. A bit more. It is getting curved by the filament inside here a bit, and it was actually now it's locked up, but it was moving much easier in the other direction. It was touching just the frame up here, so it was actually rubbing against it. So what I'm thinking could happen is, why is it now completely locked up? I don't know. What could happen is just when the filament sort of bends these, because as you can see, if we turn all this off, these are both tilted left. So it might happen that one of these just gets tilted in the other direction when the filament gets fed differently and bump into the side rails here. So yeah, again, reliability, that's going to be a big thing I'll have to focus on. Right now it was bumping that, I was just barely touching it. So yeah, reliability, and of course the entire dual extrusion aspect of the machine and how well it's gonna work in day-to-day use, and how many issues it's gonna have. I do like the concept a lot. I think it's great to see different approaches. It's great to see you know, new concepts being tested. We'll have to see how well this one worked out. So why I paused this print is because I actually got it to skip steps again. I was seeing it touch the or rub against the frame right here with the cables, and this one is actually out of position already. It did skip steps again. So yeah, this print has also failed, which is unfortunate, but also maybe my fault a tiny bit again. So yeah, for now, I will have to conclude this stream with like 3 screw-ups from my side. Maybe not. Well, the thing is, when you get different results than what you're expecting, because typically I wouldn't expect this axis to be that flimsy. It might have been in shutdown mode, yeah, but I was really just touching these things, and you know, it just went beep and was gone. So yeah, when you're getting things that behave differently than what you expect, you are more likely to run into issues, which we did here. But yeah, full review by the end of the month. But for now, that's gonna be it for today. Not the smoothest stream, I know, but thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you all in the next one. Bye bye.